Hello there and welcome to Leaps and Hounds with me, Charlotte Hawkins. This is episode 2, Jumping Up with Perry the Trail Hound. Now I've come to the Dogs Trust Rehoming Centre in West London. They are a brilliant charity. I've supported them for many years now. They're seeing record numbers of dogs being given up for rehoming at the moment. And a big reason is unwanted behaviours. So we are here to help, whether it's incessant barking, jumping up, stealing, aggression, whatever it is, we will be here to sort it out for you. And I've got Kris Glover on hand, the resident expert here. She is head of Clinical Behaviour Services at the Dogs Trust. So pretty much fluent in dogs. And we've got one of the centre's biggest jumper-uppers. It's Perry the Trail Hound, who's being brought in now by handler Beth. Hello to you.
Hello.
Thank you very much. Oh, can I come and say hello?
If you could ask him to do a sit,
I will
that
indeed.
encourages him
Perry,
to not jump up.
Perry, what's this? Perry, sit.
Beautiful. Good boy. Thank you, Charlotte. That was
So
beautiful.
perfectly behaved then. But tell me a bit about Perry's story.
Yeah, so Perry, as you can, he's a very handsome boy. He's 3 years old now, and he was his mum was abandoned when she was heavily pregnant. So he was actually born in rescue kennels with us. We rehomed him when he was a young boy, and he went to go and live with a lovely home. But his jumping up scared some of the children that he was living with, so that was a little bit of a problem.
Because he's quite a size then, isn't he? So I suppose with a dog like that, it has a bit more of an impact when he does jump up, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yes. So as you can imagine, it's a little bit more intimidating. He's got a little bit more weight behind him, so he's much more likely to knock someone over, especially if you're a little bit nervous about dogs.
Well, listen, Beth, thank you very much. You can go off for your walk now, Perry. Thanks very much for coming to say hello.
Thank you.
And Kris, talk us through then what the 3 main reasons for jumping up are.
So we always assume that the biggest reason for jumping up is an excitable dog. So we come in from outdoors and they really want to say hi, which absolutely, we know with Perry, that's what we're experiencing. We've also got dogs that will jump up to try and steal things from surfaces that are a little bit out of reach. And the third thing as well is we've got dogs that will jump up through fear. So if they're worried about something or someone, they may lunge towards in order, out of fear, to try and sort of push them a little bit further away from them.
Okay, so 3 really different reasons that
Absolutely.
A lot of people have an issue, don't they, with that whole someone coming to the front door, the dog gets way overexcited, is jumping up. What can you do in that scenario?
So I think we've got 2 main things that we can try. The first thing is that we do get down to the dog's level and greet them, because that's what they want to do. They want to say hello to us, but that's not always possible. Sometimes they're walking in with lots of bags of shopping, or if we've got mobility issues, we just can't get down to that level. So what we would do in that situation is just scatter a few treats on the floor for them to then seek and eat and remain on their level. So what we're doing is rewarding them for keeping all 4 paws on the floor. Or if we have got a dog that is very playful, we could actually just have a couple of their toys around. So they collect the toy and then we might be able to engage in a little bit of play with that toy. So there's lots of different options. But what we don't want to be doing is shutting the dog away or telling them off, because that is more likely to make them worried, which means that they might jump up on us even more.
Oh, that's interesting in that case. So it's more about sort of distracting them at that stage.
Absolutely. Just giving them something else to do. I think when we're considering behaviour issues, it's all about what can we teach them to do that is very different to what we don't want them to do.
Rather than just keep telling them off for
Absolutely,
everything.
definitely.
Okay, the next scenario then. What about dogs that jump up at the table? They're trying to grab food. What can you do to stop that behaviour?
So we need to keep the table free of food that is within dog reach. And I know that can be very difficult, especially if we've got young children in the house. But just trying to keep sort of food that dogs may be able to acquire out of their reach, because as soon as the dog has taken something, they're more likely to keep repeating that behaviour. I once looked after a Labrador, a lovely Labrador, who managed to get a little tiny bit of sausage that was stuck to the top of my swing bin. And he actually tried 300 times post that, without the sausage in there and without the dustbin bag in there, to still try to see if there was food in there. So once they've achieved something, it's hugely rewarding to them. They will keep trying.
Dogs are amazing with their memories, aren't they, like that?
Good, so good. I'm a little bit the same with a biscuit. So it is just literally about trying to avoid them having that learning situation that we don't want them to sort of find reward from. So definitely remove food from work surfaces. If we have got dogs that have got sort of insatiable appetites and it appears that they're the sort of dog that we could feed a lot to and they are still very, very hungry, absolutely visit the vet. There's lots of dietary and medical issues that can cause dogs to have an increased hunger state. So we want to be really, really mindful that we've actually checked with the vet and made sure that they're actually healthy before we do any behaviour or training work with them.
And what about for the bigger dogs then, actually stopping them jumping on the table?
Yeah, so again, I think it's about just making sure there's nothing of reward on that table. So dogs will only repeat behaviours that they do feel that they get the outcome that they want. And unless you've got a dog that is jumping on the table in order to get sort of visibility of something that's a little bit higher up, they're more likely going to jump up on the table in order to get food. So if we can give them lots of nice food, so food toys, scatter food from the floor, so that at least then what we're doing is rewarding them for staying on the floor, but we're giving them everything that they may have wanted to get from the table, but actually on the floor in a food toy, or as I say, just a little scatter of food, a few little treats on the floor.
And Kris, you mentioned that some dogs jump up to defend themselves. What does that look like then, and what can you do about that?
So usually you get a dog that will be displaying body language that would indicate that they're a little bit concerned in that situation. So you might have the tail that's tucked, the tail might be raised, the dog might be backing away, the dog might be staring, there could be tension around the mouth. So all of these signs that we would be looking at with the dog, which would indicate to us that they're a little bit uncomfortable about the situation. Definitely in that scenario, we need to make sure the dog has got enough distance away from the person to feel as comfortable as possible. Whether that means that we take a few back steps away from the person or whether we actually ask the person to walk away from the dog doesn't hugely matter, just so that we do increase distance. I think what we have to be very, very insistent on with people is that we get lots of people that are very keen on dogs and might want to come over and try and make friends. And for that dog that's worried about that person, that's going to be quite a scary situation. So it's just about keeping distance. And if in doubt, we just move on.
Because of course, it can be have serious consequences, can't it? If a dog lunges out of fear, what would you advise to do in that case?
Definitely. So I would say if you know that your dog has got a fearful sort of response to people, get some help from a qualified behaviourist. So the earlier that we can actually intervene and we can help the dog to feel more confident and comfortable around people, the better it will be. So definitely seek help from a qualified behaviourist. Give dogs distance. Don't put them in situations that they feel uncomfortable with.
Kris, amazing advice. Thank you so much. So I think the key one is for that all-important jumping up at the door. The 3 top tips to remember then is get down at their level. If you can't do that, then scatter some treats or distract with a toy. All good to know. I should be taking a note of that. Thank you very much. The next episode, the 3rd episode, is on stealing with Treacle the Eater, a beagle. We'll see you then.
For more help with your dog, go to the Dogs Trust website. There's an advice page and a behaviour support line. And on the rehoming page, there are some of the 700 dogs looking for their forever homes. If you like what you've heard so far, please share with a friend and leave a review. Thank you. Leaps and Hounds is hosted by me, Charlotte Hawkins. The producer is Georgie Nell and our technical director is Milton Boyne. It's recorded at the Dogs Trust in West London for Nell Media.